Barrett and welcome to the 2016 wash-up for the Saints. It was a great effort by Alan Richardson's team to double its wins tally from the previous season, and they only missed out in a spot in the top 8 by percentage only. Matthew Lloyd.
Yeah, it was just 2 beltings against the West Coast Eagles in Perth, and the Adelaide Crows hit Adelaide over, which really let them down. But other than that, Dame, it was a brilliant year from them. They found so many players like Seb Ross, Jack Nunes, Gresham, Hickey in the ruck. We're going to talk about all those as the show unfolds, and then Revolt and Montagna, the top end performers, were brilliant as well. So really positive, and they'll go into pre-season with expectations that they should play finals next year.
From just before the halfway point, there are lots of positives, and I'm going to identify the highlight for the club. Amongst those many positives, Lordo, was a round 4 defeat of Geelong, and we saw it came in really dramatic circumstances when their top draft pick here, Jade Gresham, kicked that very good goal, one of the goals of the season, to beat the Cats, and I think give cause and notice and put the competition on notice. This team is real, and that it does have a significant future.
Yeah, round 14, absolute beauty. That was their win of the season, that one, because they beat all the sides around them or below them, but couldn't really take hold of many other sides above them. So that was their win of the season. For mine, it's the forwards now. Their forward line without Nick Revolt. We saw him kick 9 in the last round, but they've moved on from that for the future. And I just thought for 4 players to kick 24 or more, you've seen vision of Membry there. We saw Bruce, Nick Revolt still doing what he's doing. Mav Weller, what a find he was for the year, kicking 24 plus goals as well. And then we also got Paddy McCartan, who we'll touch on later, who he needs a big pre-season. So it's a great sign for next year, knowing you've got 5 or 6 guys that can keep more than 20 goals in a season. Yeah,
for me the low light came actually before the year started, and came almost 12 months ago when Jake Carlisle, the big signing for the club, got himself caught up in that ridiculous cocaine issue on a phone video, and as such was fined by the club, had his contract reduced, and then we know he didn't play anyway because of the Essendon ban. But look, you can only imagine what would have happened had he been available, given how well they did perform without him.
Oh, he's exactly the player they need, because they just struggle with the big forwards. So for mine is Paddy McCartan's head knocks. Can become a real issue for players. It's ending careers. We know it ended Jonathan Brown's career, and he's a young man, got a lot of footy ahead of him. But just for it to happen 3 times, Damo, throughout the year, and that one was so innocuous, it's a real concern for him.
As was this one here, and the other one you're about to see too. On top of that too, finished the season with a broken collarbone, and you mentioned the 3 concussions in 2016. If you go back another 12 months prior to that, there's another 2 you add to it as well. So it's a worry, isn't it? No matter what spin you put on it. Look, I was really buoyant about what the Saints did. I took a while to be converted, but come the halfway point and what they did right through to round 23, I was really happy with them, Lordo, and I'm going to give them a pretty big mark out of 10 for the year, 7.5.
Yeah, I don't mind that, because I've gone a 7, Damo. I think that aside from playing finals, they couldn't have got much more out of their season.
Yep. We give Christmas bonuses in these wash-ups, and you've mentioned this man already, but I'm going to give him a few extra dollars for what he did in 2016. Tim Membry, managed the 44 goals, Lordo. There are a couple of games, maybe late in the piece, where he just sort of got, I suppose, got away from it a little bit. But I reckon the body of work over the entirety of the 23 games was one that he can be really happy with.
Yeah, he's a hard matchup. Do you play a tall on him or do you play a small? He's a beautiful kick for goal, which is hard to find in AFL football these days. For mine, it's another recruit from another club, just like Membry, it's Tom Hickey. A lot of criticism about what they gave up for Hickey, but he repaid them this year with their faith. Ruckman takes some time, but there was a period through the middle part of the year where Hickey was just about the best ruckman in the game.
Really?
Yeah. I think along with Gawn, he tapered off a little bit as the year went on, but he had a period of 4 or 5 weeks where he just dominated. So it's a big bonus for this year for the Saints.
OK, well, that leaves this man on the chopping block as a result of his form in this year for me, Lordo. Billy Longer, who last year was the man you were talking up about, wasn't he, about being the big hope in the rucking stocks. And obviously with Lewis Pearce still on the list, and that Jason Holmes was also chosen for a game ahead of him late in the piece, I think he, despite being contracted, will probably need to look elsewhere.
Yeah, I would if I was Longer. He looks down the list there at St Kilda. For mine, I watched the VFL on the weekend, Sandringham, and it was Tom Lee who kicked 4 goals, looked the star, but just cannot make it at AFL level. So he'd be on the chopping block along with Brodie Murdoch at St Kilda for mine.
We've mentioned Hickey a couple of times already, Lordo. Gave us a few moments to laugh at during the year, particularly this centre bounce contest?
Yeah, well, people might be saying, what's so funny about it? But if you see the replay, as a ruckman, you've at least got to watch the ball. And he had no idea where that ball was there. And sometimes ruckmen just have brain fades, don't they?
Yep. OK, they're going to need to improve to get into the 8. And they know this. I'm not telling them anything they don't know, but they need defenders, Lordo. Sam Fisher's may well get an aged rookie spot, but Hugh Goddard's still some time away. Jake Kellogg comes back and obviously helps there, but they're going to need at least one more key and quality player on top of that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And for mine, it's just the depth through the midfield. I look at the finals and you look at GWS and the Sydney Swans, how deep they go through the midfield. And for mine, a guy like Jack Billings, can he lift? Because he had really disappointing season, Jack Billings and Akers and Dunstan and Ross and Nunes. Those guys have to go to another level if they're to make the finals.
OK, they've had a good year.
Yeah.
2017, what do they do?
12 wins this year. I'll say they'll stagnate and be around that mark again, just knocking on the door. But it just doesn't happen when you just go straight into the final, so they'll stagnate. What about you?
I'm with you. I've got the stagnate prognosis on them too, and just simply for the reason it's just going to be hard for it to happen again. And even 11 wins may somehow be a better result for what it's worth. Hey, Leroy, thank you.
Thanks, Dana.
And thanks for watching. And that was the wash-up for St Kilda in 2016.